All right. Now, he mentioned 24 volts. This is 240, 120, 120, 240 volts. This is 24. 24 volts is actually what pushes this thing in. All right. This 220 or 240 volts is powering the fan and the compressor. All right.
So that's the double, right?
Yeah, this is two-pole contact. So we'll be going. Hey, look, we're coming back to the contactor. All of these parts that we're talking about, we'll be going over again. But I just want to give you a little brief introduction to what they look like. On the Zoom calls, you saw all these. We talked about all this, but y'all didn't see this. You never touched it, I would imagine. But that's all this is a contact. And if you look at this one here, I'm going to show you this. You see that it's wired here. See that wire coming from the outdoor disconnect?
Yeah, outdoor disconnect.
It's wired here. 120, 120, right? 240. That's how this thing is powered. And these little wires here, you see, these are your thermostat wires. These are the 24 volts that you spoke about. Okay. So we're going to go over again the operation of the contactor. And here you can see your capacitor here. Okay, this is the dual capacitor.
So that's
Okay.
one now?
Yeah, the same thing. Look, there's not many moving parts in the air conditioning system, y'all. There's not many moving parts. This is it. You got this. Some units have a little more accessories, but for the most part, this is all you're going to see. It's your contactor, your capacitor, your compressor, and your fan. That's basically all you're going to see. So it ain't a whole lot to learn or you know how to troubleshoot. All right? When we have troubleshooting, I'm going to start my troubleshooting session sometime in June. All right? And if you pass the troubleshooting part of this class, then you get certification in troubleshooting. When you go looking for these jobs in Vital Sun, Spartan, and DC government, hey, you put that on it. Hey, I got a certificate in troubleshooting.
So you're
They're
going
going to
to
say, whoa, okay. They like that. Any certificates you got, you show your potential employer, they say, man, this guy here, hey, they must know something. They got a troubleshooting certificate. What's your question?
I'm saying when you troubleshooting the main thing when you're going at the panel board.
It's what now?
What's the board called? Control board?
Control board?
Yeah.
What about?
That's where you starting at when you're doing troubleshooting.
No.
I mean, I didn't mean to say that, but
Yeah, I understand what you're saying. So that's an important part of your system. But no, you don't start there. Everybody will get troubleshooting guides, right? This is very, very important. You get a troubleshooting guide because if you have a problem, you look on your guide, and it will tell you what is the likely problem, and then it will also tell you what is the likely way to fix that problem. So we have about, I say at least 4 or 5 troubleshooting guides that we will give you, and that will aid you if you have a call and you don't know what the problem is. Look on your guide. What does that guide tell you? Hey, check this first. Check that second. All right? Simple. Right? But sometime in June, you'll start your troubleshooting session. And it's about a 2-week session. And if you do well, you get your certification. I will make sure that you get your certificate in air conditioning and troubleshooting. So that's important. All right. Now, let's do this real quick. So You know, we talked about in the video. The young man was speaking about all the different parts that make up the air conditioning equipment. He talked about the compressor. He talked about the hard start kit. But you don't find a lot of units with the hard start kit. Some you do, some you don't. He talked about the metering device, the evaporator, the pressure switch. All right.
The 4 lines.
What that?
The 4 lines.
The 4 lines. Yeah. The discharge line, the suction line. He talked about that. He talked about the service valves when you hook up your gauges. We're going to hook up the gauges today, class, and we'll show you where to hook the gauges up. Everything is under pressure now, right? Pressure and what? Temperature. If you know pressure, you know temperature. If you know temperature, you know pressure. And we'll cover that today. Pressure and temperature. Single pole, I can't see it from there, but I believe that's what that is. Yeah. All right. Okay, this is what we're going to do real quick. I'm going to give you paper and pencil, and I want y'all to draw the refrigeration cycle. All right? I want you to draw the refrigeration cycle as best you know. We've been covering that refrigeration cycle. It's in your book. So I want you to draw that refrigeration cycle as best you can. No notes. This is not an open book.
You said no notes.
No notes. You can't use any notes. No, I know you. I'm just saying. Yeah.
No notes.
Oh yeah, put those notes away. Yeah, no notes. Everybody have a pencil? So you can start, I'll tell you this. Start with the compressor and work your way up. Start with the compressor and work your way up. So how many students we have online with us tonight? I don't see anything. I don't hear you. I don't know what's going on.
He said we can't look at our notes, but it's in the book.
Huh?
He said we can't look at our notes, but they're in the book.
You can't look at anything.
That's what you said.
I said no notes. Hey, no, don't write it in your book. I gave you this to write it in, so you turn that in. And as I said, start with the compressor and work your way to the other components. That's it. Huh? Is the fan there? Any condensing unit? Yeah, the condenser fan. Yeah. That's a condenser.
He said we're doing refrigeration cycle.
Here's another condenser right here. Come on. This here is the condensing unit. This thing right here. You've seen this before, right? Outside. These are the condensing units. Inside the condensing unit, you have the compressor. So we got to draw that. Yeah. And then you have your electrical components, your capacitor, your contactor, and your capacitor. Yeah. Here's the compressor. refrigeration cycle. When you in class, when you were born on yeah, well, this is
It's continuity.
all right, well, during your compression, you start with the other components. Right? So I'm not an artist, but like, the person might look like a dome, like that. All right, then you got your two sides that make up that compressor, right? Where does that refrigerant go once it leaves the compressor? Now I want you to put pressure and temperatures where you put your components now. Y'all got me? Huh? You understand what I'm saying?
The number?
Yeah, the pressure and the temperature at different places in the system. Mr. Why you look a little confused there? You okay? All right, all right, all right.
You want us to know the top of the head. Like
Huh?
trying to guess the top man. I'm trying to think without looking at the picture of the refrigeration too.
Okay, okay.
And then he said for the temperature.
How you making out? That's good. Right. This is your compressor, right? Where does that refrigerant go once it leaves the literally? Yeah, you got your pipes, right? Right? Your copper tubing, it's called tubing, copper tubing. All right, it go to another unit. Where do it go? Once it leaves the compressor, where does the refrigerant go? This is the refrigeration cycle. This is where the refrigerant is traveling through the system. This is what I want you to do. All right? So once it leaves the compressor, it goes somewhere. Where does it go? How you making out over here? Huh? You having issues? You okay? Huh? Oh, yeah. Yeah, okay. Take your time. You get going. Now, what would you call that? Tubing. Okay, now where is that tubing going? Right here. Just told you. It's not going forward. It's right there. Take the condenser. This part right here. That's your compressor. This is your condensing unit. This is your condenser. Right? So, say this is your condenser. Okay, you know where that compressor is? Where the compressor is, right? This needs to be compressor. That's refrigerator. Goes somewhere, right? Where do it go? Your tube, right? This is your hot gas discharge tube. I told you this is the hottest place in the whole system, right here. Once it leaves the compressor, that's the hottest. You get up to about 200 degrees Fahrenheit. All right, once it leaves that compressor, where does it go? No, this is not. This is air conditioning, not refrigeration. Even though they call it a refrigeration cycle, yeah, the compressor would really be usually they was about refrigerator. Not always, but they usually was about. Yeah, it's air conditioning. I see you doing refrigeration. That's understandable. So, Mr. Simpson, you weren't here when we went through this, so I really don't expect you to understand what we're doing right now. But I'm trying to walk you through it. The refrigeration cycle. The pressure is a pump. Okay, that pump has a suction side which receives refrigerant. It has a discharge side, right, which gets rid of the refrigerant, right? So this could be your discharge side, which is leaving the compressor. This is your compressor inlet.
That's why.
This is your compressor outlet.
Forgot the other two lines.
Outlet, it goes right to the condenser. We say condenser. Condenser is not more than coil. It's cooling itself. Let me show you. Come on, let me show you. All right, you finished? Oh, who else is finished?
I forgot the other. I gotta remember the other two lines.
All right. Let's see this here. All through here, all right, all throughout. Electricity is going on. And then it comes out here. Comes in here at the top. Comes out. See, this is your condenser out. See that big condenser out? It's called subcooled liquid. It's liquid and cooled. Now it's going somewhere. So once it leaves here, I'm going to show you that. But this is your condenser. This is the condensing unit, which makes up compressor and that's all mixed up the condensing unit. This is a condensing unit, but this is primarily for restaurants. Walking boxes and stuff like that. But this is actually this is your condensing unit, this is your alcohol unit. So I'm gonna show you where it goes. All right, let me collect your paper if you finish.
Say we don't remember the other two lines.
Huh?
We can just leave it blank if I don't remember the other two lines.
Well, you got your name on this paper? Yeah, make sure your name.
My name is
there. Okay.
I think my shit on the back of the paper instead of the front. See, if it was on this side.
Okay, all right. Anyone else finish?
Yeah.
All right, very good. Make sure your name on the paper, right? Okay. Good. Now, let me say this here. Once it leaves, okay. All right, very good. That's your condenser.
Also on Spotify, they have on Spotify they have the HVAC training podcast.
Compressor. It goes to another
Actually, the video is better. The video takes
Like this, they actually do it
This is your
like
outside
air compressor, how you think it is. And
Yeah,
then
that's coming back. See,
See,
it's
that's
like a
on the
look.
left hand side, and then you can actually do it yourself, so it stays with you.
That's all it is. That's all I need you to do.
That's something I think.
Yeah. Okay, how we doing over here?
Should go with the back of the man. How much you want to do like that? I did just fast. I could leave.
Let's see how it works.
Oh, that's a good thing. Yes. See, you can
Then
press
when
it.
they get started again.
Yeah, let me look it up.
So once it leaves the compressor, you got the compressor discharge, right? You know, remember we told you the compressor is a pump. It has a suction side that receives the refrigerant, and it has a discharge side. It's like you got a fuel pump in your car. Same thing. It has a suction side and discharge gets gas to the front of it.
Yeah, I didn't check that out.
So once it leaves the
He said, how do you call it?
compressor, it goes to what's called the metering device.
For
Once
text.
it goes to the metering device, it goes to the compressor. Once it leaves the ground, it comes right back.
Even with electricity.
Okay, we have everybody straight. All right, very good. Very good. What's your name? Very good.
On Spotify,
And at the back on high to my single capacitor thing. This is
Oh, okay.
my contacts.
All right. I'm gonna read this real quick.
That's my contacts.
but if you look at that one second, so let's say the basic.
What was that name showing you?
Double contact.
Oh, double pole. Double pole.
Double pole.
Yeah.
Double pole.
Double pole contact. Good, good, good. All right, let's read this real quick. Class. This is called the anatomy. Oh, you didn't get one? This is the anatomy of air conditioning, residential air conditioning. This is called the anatomy. It's like your body anatomy, right? You got lungs and liver and heart. All these have purposes, right? Well, the parts you see here have a purpose, right? Right? And I know we know the purpose of our body, right? The purpose of your liver, the purpose of your spleen, your brain, your heart, your blood vessels. We know all that, right? About our body. So, the same thing with your air conditioning system. They have what is called parts and purpose. Mr. Simpson, help us out. No, just step one, learn the anatomy of the central air conditioner. The air conditioner is running, so you gotta speak a little loud.
Central home air conditioner. Service systems.
A little loud, please, if you don't mind.
Service systems consists of two major components. A conditioning unit that sits outside your house and the evaporator coil, ultimate refurb to
A coil.
that
The
sits
reason they say it's an A coil is because it's shaped full like the letter A. But not all evaporators are A coils. Alright, remember we told you nothing is what? Always. Nothing is always. Alright? So that don't mean all evaporator coils are A coils. Go ahead.
that sits in the column of your furnace or air handler.
Alright? Now I want somebody to point to an air handler in the classroom.
Air handler?
Yeah. You see an air handler in this classroom?
Right here.
No, that's not an air handler, that's a hot water heater. That's how you heat your hot water in your house. With the sink, the showers and all that.
Oh,
Comes here. Hot water heater. Over here the same way. Hot water heater. Where's the air handler? In the classroom. See it? Right here. This is an air handler. Right? This is an air handler. Right? This is an air handler. It's nothing more than your furnace. That's all it is. It's another name for your furnace. Right? Yeah, one here. Air handler. Right? Air handler. right?
That's another name for furnace.
That's all it is.
Yeah.
All it does is circulate air. That's all. That's why they call it air handler. Okay. So when you hear that word air handler, just think of a furnace. Now, some of the furnaces does not have an A coil or evaporator. Some only have heat. But you have heating and cooling, your evaporator, which provides cooling in your house, normally, not all the time, will sit on the top of your air handler, like right here. It will sit here. All right? You sit just below above the plenum. And the plenum is just the first part of your jump. That's just a little section where the jump starts. Okay, go ahead.
The refrigerant was coil gets enough heat from the home and moves it to the outdoor condensing unit.
Now, where is the outdoor condensing unit?
Alright.
All right, very good.
I'm right there.
I see one here in this corner here.
You said that's
One there,
Right there too.
here. Yeah, that's the outdoor condensing unit. Yeah, over here, outdoor condensing unit. Very good. Now, where is the indoor unit? Where is the evaporator? Ah, you sure?
Is it furnace?
You sure?
You talking about the furnace?
That's the evaporator coil, isn't it?
This is. I'm sorry. This is your evaporator class. This is the A coil that he just spoke about. This is the A coil. All right. Now we told you that the refrigerant, once it leaves the compressor, it goes through what? The liquid line, and then it goes through the what? Metering device.
Right before the
All right. This is the inlet of your. This is the inlet here of your metering device. And down the bottom, you see where the refrigerant goes in, and it comes out at the top. No, this is the piston type metering device. And remember we told you what piston type looks like? We told you about the orifice. You can't see it on this one here. But if you come up, you can see the little hole that meters that refrigerant into the evaporator. You want to see it. That's why I took this off, so you can see that small hole, that small opening that sends that refrigerant to the evaporator. All right? You see here, one little small hole there? That's just the orifice. Okay? That sends the refrigerant to the evaporator. The refrigerant comes to the bottom here, and it comes out at the what? This is the discharge. The evaporator discharge. This is the evaporator inlet. This is the evaporator what? Outlet. All right? Or you could say, very good, this is the suction line. All right?
That's the line I forgot to put on my face.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Now, this line goes where? It goes right back to the what?
Compressor.
Goes right back to the compressor.
so like in the circle.
It's a loop. That's all it is. It's like your blood. It leaves one part of your heart, circulates throughout the body, comes out at another part. Same thing. Heart is nothing more than a sump. Right? Just like a compressor. They call it a vapor pump. Because it's only supposed to compress vapor. It cannot compress liquid. All right?
So like smoke. What you're saying.
No, not smoke. A vapor. A vapor is nothing more than a substance that has changed state from a liquid to gas. Or gas, you might say gas. Some people use the word vapor, some use the word gas. So that's what a refrigerant is. When it comes into the evaporator, it comes in as a liquid refrigerant.